Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Everything is Energy. Welcome to the weekly astrology forecast for the week of February 22nd, Sunday through Saturday, February 28th, 2026. We are in the middle of eclipse season. That's not a direct aspect that I'm going to be talking about in this video. I will put out a video for the upcoming solar eclipse in Scorpio uh, in a few days from now. But suffice to say that part of the background of what the energy that we're swimming in, so to speak, is that we just had a new moon eclipse. Oh, that was a solar eclipse. This is going to be a lunar eclipse. Excuse me. This is going to be This is going to be a Scorpio lunar eclipse next week. And right now we're in the middle of this, and we can feel something building. What is building? Compassion, surrender, intuition, as well as emotional intelligence. This is a week of both emotional intelligence as well as truth. And it's really inviting us to pay attention to subtle energy, pay attention to the truths beneath the surface. Let's go ahead and kick things off with Sunday, February 22nd, today. Today's a day of healing action. Today's a day of expansive love. This is one of the most supportive days of this week. We have Mars sextiling Chiron just after 11 a.m. on Sunday. And this is where courage becomes healing. This is where we understand that confident, grounded action can repair and heal old wounds. And these wounds are potentially around our leadership, our autonomy. And so, this is not loud bravery. This is not just screaming. This is integrated strength. And this is a really cool time for us to remember how powerful we truly are. So you may feel on Sunday or even throughout this week a little bit more ready to take a step that you might have previously been hesitant about. But it's also important to be less reactive and to move with clarity and to notice that the actions to aim to take those actions without coming from a place of fear or defensiveness, to come from a space of healing and love and seeking the higher ground, so to speak. Later on that very same day, Venus is making two aspects, and they're both in the middle of the day. One is Venus is trining Jupiter at 3 p.m. So this is a really beautiful heart opening aspect. And this is going to help compassion expand. This is going to help us be able to release old stories that no longer serve. It's going to help us to realize that some of the things that are in the past, and that we might be well served to speak and focus and create our future. I'm not saying to ignore the past, but I'm saying, do you know, if you ever tell that story about that thing that happened, we're just keeping something active in our field that quite honestly will attract more unless we consciously choose to tell a higher vibrational story. So this aspect is going to help us with that today. We also have Venus quintiling Uranus at 5 o'clock in the evening. And so this is going to be really kind of neat because this is going to help us have some creative breakthroughs, and creative breakthroughs in themes that are Venusian: justice, harmony, peace, beauty, love. And so there's going to be this kind of sense of this fresh energy, this fresh air. There's this unexpected, it's kind of how I feel today. There's been a week of snow and rain and storm and just gray, and then the sun comes out and it's like, and in that point, it's not dramatic, but it's palpable and it's real. So the next 2 days, these 2 days, the 23rd and the 24th, these days are quieter. There's no actual aspects exactly happening on Monday and Tuesday. So this also kind of points to the fact that Sunday's a pretty big, expansive day, and we will be well served to continue to work with those themes. And, since we are in Pisces season, it's worth noting that Pisces season asks for us for pacing. It's not about forcing, it's not about getting things done as quickly as possible. I mentioned that before. It's about right timing and being in the process, being present. And Monday and Tuesday might be days where you feel more sensitive than usual. Sensitivity is not a bad thing. Sensitivity is a good thing, but it's also a really worth noting. It might be worthwhile to gently protect your energy and to cultivate that sensitivity and notice if there's something or someone or something that feels draining, to maybe take a shift to go or do or be or speak something that feels, again, it's about the vibration, higher vibrational. So let's get to Wednesday, the 25th. This is a day of emotional depth. This is a day of subtle power. And the main aspect, the main player of the day is Venus semi-square to Pluto. This happens around 6:30 in the evening. And so, Pluto brings with it some intense energy, but really semi-square is about if there's anything unresolved about our emotional truth, but also about our collective and individual experience of balance and harmony and justice. If there's anything beneath the surface, Pluto's just going to reveal what's already there. So, this is a really wonderful day for being in integrity, personal integrity, for staying connected to what feels personally true and what is a real personal value. That, and it doesn't have to be that we all agree on the same thing. It just needs to be that, there's something asking to be transformed as if something's being revealed on Wednesday. And I think one of the themes that we could think about is releasing the need to have control and replace that need for control. Control is restricting, right? And welcome in honesty, welcome in truth, welcome in the energies of what is present, so that we can continue to create into the future. Again, on Thursday, we don't have any real major aspect going on. That's because Venus semi-square Pluto is kind of a big deal. So, Thursday might be a nice day to continue with that theme. Journaling, meditating, being out in nature, certainly good things, healthy things to do. Friday, we have a fair amount of aspects going on. Friday's really the theme here is karmic alignment and potentially sudden change. So it's interesting. We have these kind of intense things and then like a little gap, an intense thing and a little gap. And when I'm thinking about what's happening this week, I think about the notion that time, some people describe time as happening in packets instead of time being linear, as we're all used to. Have you ever had the feeling of like a domino effect, where like nothing happens for a very long time and all of a sudden everything just runs? And some people will describe that, and I've had this experience of time happening as it's as if there's this packet of things that when the energy is aligned, there's this big, robust, profound thing that happens, and it almost feels like 10 days worth of things happen in one day, right? That's kind of the nature of this week, is helping us lift ourselves up and out of linear time. And that is a perfect energetic and metaphorical lesson for eclipse season in and of itself, because as I like to say, eclipse seasons are resets that lift us up and out of linear space and time. So this week is definitely supporting that. So Friday is the most pivotal day of the week. We have the North Node, the true node, semi-square to Chiron. This is around 9 a.m. in the morning. And this is where, you know, growth may feel tender. And, you know, you may notice some kind of a fear or an insecurity arising in a place that is unusual, or maybe it's very usual. But what's interesting about the North Node semi square to Chiron is this is about where our soul wants us to stretch. This is about where, if we've been running a pattern of something less than 100% of our light, if we're not really living in the powerful, amazing, beautiful, wonderful story that is our story and who we are, we're going to be invited to get up and out of low vibrational uh, mental patterns with ourselves. We also have the sun pretty much the same time conjunct the North Node. So North Node is squaring Chiron, and then just minutes after, literally, this major alignment happens. And so the sun's going to illuminate the North Node in Pisces. And this is aligning, it's going to help us align with destiny. So if there is a little bit of a shift that we get to make with Chiron, as it's about being comfortable with vulnerability. That's what Chiron semi-square the North Node is. Sun conjunct the North Node is about aligning with destiny, and aligning with destiny through our intuition and through our trust in ourselves and our intuition and the universe. So again, this is about relinquishing old patterns. If the linear structures are crumbling and the things that we've been taught that keep us safe are kind of unraveling a little bit, what is there? Well, there's us, there's ourselves, there's our intuition, there's our emotional realizations, there is our ability to see what's happening in the world at a higher level, instead of just being stuck in the mundane pattern. It's about pattern recognition. It's about seeing the symbolism of things, about seeing seeing things with intuitive clarity. And so this day, this aspect is about, I want to say, remember who you are becoming. Remember who you are. Remember that you're always becoming. Remember why you're here. Remember who you are becoming. And what's amazing is at that exact same time, because the sun is conjunct the North Node, the sun is also semi-square to Chiron. So that also tells us that this becoming might feel a little bit new. It might feel a little bit like a space that we've never been to before, precisely because if we think about all the outer planets doing these generational shifts, we haven't been here. So it's okay if it feels a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit like, whoa, like I feel like I'm in a new country. I feel like I'm in a new space. This is about having courage with tenderness. This is about, you know, the idea that the heart stays open. We continue to speak and embody our truth. And we get to really trust and know and experience that that is enough. Not only is it enough, that is what is powerful. Around 11:30 on Friday, we have Mars squaring Uranus, and this is the lightning bolt of the week. Mars is in Aquarius, squaring Uranus, the anaretic degrees of Taurus. Uranus is about to move into Pisces in a little bit, but this Mars in Aquarius, squaring Uranus and Taurus, potentially sudden change, or I'm going to use the word again that I used last week, disruption. But remember, disruption is not negative. Disruption is shaking things up because some of the things and some of the habits and some of the patterns and some of the structures that feel so entrenched no longer serve. So there's also caveat, because Mars is here. We might feel impulsive, we might feel impatient, we might feel ready to break free. This is volatile energy with Uranus. So let's also put a pin in this to move carefully with consciousness. This isn't about reaction, and this isn't about fear, and this isn't about anger. This isn't about low vibe stuff. This is about conscious change and choosing the vibration. This is about us stepping into how powerful we truly are. And this is about us remembering that freedom is best chosen deliberately. Powerful day, Friday. And then Saturday, we have a really wonderful aspect that's kind of going to help us unite our mind and our heart. And that's going to be that, Mercury is conjunct Venus in Pisces at around 12:35 in the morning, or at exactly 12:35 in the morning. So this is a beautiful close to the week. Not that the week ever opens or closes, but at least as we're thinking about this capsule of energy that I'm presenting. And, the mind and the heart, Mercury and Venus. Mercury is the mind, Venus is the heart in this analogy. They're uniting in a compassionate sign, Pisces. And this is reminding us that heartfelt communication is where it's at. Not only is it possible, but when we communicate from our heart, if we think about it, I've mentioned this before, that human beings, whether or not anybody really realizes that they read energy, I would like to offer that human beings do read energy. And if you think about it, if you ever had a conversation with somebody and you were very upset with them, they could tell that you were not coming from your heart. But if you let it rest for a little bit and then you sat with what was really true for you and you got the charge off of it and you could come from your heart, that conversation went very differently because the person can tell what you mean behind the words that you say, just like we can tell what other people mean behind the words. So this is a really powerful day. And I would say if we wanted to have some medicine for the week, the wisdom and the power is in our heart. And so this is an excellent day for, heartfelt conversations, heartfelt expression, and reflection. And this is really great because after Friday, which is a pretty intense day, this aspect kind of restores this sense of coherence and this sense that all is well, that we're not just on lightning bolt after lightning bolt after lightning bolt, but we also can understand that there are spaces for disruption, but also after that disruption comes compassion and connection. So that's the summary for this week. This week is about healing courage, expansive love, emotional depth, destiny activation, awakenings, and all of this is we're invited throughout all of this, to be in our heart space. This is the opportunity for growth and transformation through compassion and awakening through honest vulnerability. Doesn't really get it, but this sense of heart space tenderness. So have a blessed week. I will get a meditation to you guys out in a little bit to support this week. Bright blessings and